Are we live? I think maybe we're live. Are we live? Hello? Yeah, we're live. Hello!
Oh,
Howdy, folks. How are you? Hey, Steph.
hi.
Hi,
What's up,
James,
everybody?
Weiss, Jerry, Juan. Lots of J's in the room. Darren, Philip, Sean. Thanks for joining us. Um, Sorry for that little
Oh.
moment. I didn't see the "You're now live" thing pop up. How's everyone doing? Send us a message in the chat. Where are you? What have you been up to? How's your week been? So it is 10 a.m.
Wait, actually, how's your week? How are you doing?
Oh,
What are you up to?
well, we will get to all of that. What is it in Jersey? Like 9 p.m. Saturday, right? Hello?
Yes.
So I missed you.
Sorry, I just don't remember like days anymore. Just, always inside and just doing the same stuff every day. I'm like, what day is it?
Yeah, well, fair enough. So it's 10 a.m. on Sunday morning here in Hong Kong. So those of you in this part of the world, good morning. Those of you in America and Europe, good evening. Um, so my room is new. Let me switch to a one shot here and show you
Uh-oh.
guys. Well, you're not going to see a whole lot because it's still a reasonably tight shot. But this is going to be my kind of studio, well, not studio, my office space in the new house. The desk and monitors and everything arrived. We got the shipment start of the week and we're not fully unpacked, but we're getting there. So it's a fairly small little room. There's a bookshelf here, and there'll be room for a little bit of storage, and probably my cabinet of what do you call it, dehumidifier box for cameras. But this is basically where I'll do most office work, and then I've got another room where I can set up backdrops to do shooting in the house as well. So it's nice to have the stuff back in the house. We're back, Steph. Um, and the weather has been perfect here lately. I saw before we went live that you or Timmy just gave Lucky a bath. How's Lucky?
Oh, yeah. He's good. He's just been like so needy lately, constantly wanting food like every hour. And I'm just like, dude, you can't eat too much because of his like collapsed trachea and whatnot. Because if he just gains like a pound over his normal weight, he'll just start coughing all night long. And it's just, I think he's just spoiled now that we're like home all the time, and I have like a specific like special bag where I just put him in. Like if I need to go get the mail, I'll just like bring him with me, put him in my bag, and it's like a little baby touch looking thing. It's really funny and cute. They're like, "Is that real?" I'm like, "Yes, of course, he's real." Like I would just walk around with like a stuffed animal dog in a
I don't know if
pouch,
that's weirder
like a
than having an
kangaroo.
actual dog in a pouch. I don't know. um, well, I'm glad to hear that. Sorry, do they actually make? Sorry, folks, this is now a pet catch-up talk show rather than a photography one. Do they make low-calorie food for dogs so he can still gorge himself but not be getting so much calories?
Not really. I mean, he could drink water if he's
God, you
really
are that
hungry. But
auntie.
like,
God, so
yeah,
boring. I bet they do.
no.
They will make
Oh my God,
low-calorie
we
dog kibble. I bet you.
hey feed him enough. It's just that he doesn't know when he's like full. He'll just keep eating.
Okay. I'm glad that
Like,
he is well. Sorry that he's overeating. I know the feeling. Let's get in and look at some photos before people tune out because they're not here for dogs and cats. And we'll circle back to catching up on how's everything else outside that. First of all, I want to just thank you to Juan, kind of the unsung hero of the show. He joins us every week that he's able to and goes through and answers questions when I miss them, sends them through for us to answer, helps make the whole show work. So really appreciate you, mate. Thank you for joining us. And thank you also to
oh wait. Actually, how was your birthday? Happy belated.
Ohio. Thank you very much. Aren't you so sweet? My birthday was lovely. So now it is the dog and overeating show. So the
That's
weekend prior, I actually shared my birthday with a couple of friends. So one of our good friends here in Hong Kong, that went to university with us, their 3-year-old son shares my birthday, and then a good friend back in Sydney who's originally from Shanghai shares my birthday, and then Honey, who I've started shooting with here, is a couple of days after mine. So there was lots of little celebrations around it. But on the actual birthday, with everything kind of being closed down, not as extreme as some countries, but Hong Kong restaurants are closed at night and the borders are not closed, but it's difficult to get in and out. The businesses have pivoted and doing, I know staycation is like the buzzword of the last 2 or 3 years, but they've really stepped up, and the hotels have some pretty crazy deals going on. So Kate booked, it was at the W Hotel, and it had lunch when you check in, really fancy, like several courses meal in your room for dinner because the restaurants are closed at dinner time. Great king size room that looked out over the harbour, and then a really nice breakfast as well. And you kind of, it was like half price of what it should be. You're kind of paying for the food and getting the room for free in a sense. So a nice little getaway. It's still within our own city, but still there's something about getting out of your house, not taking your laptop, that forces you to really disconnect. You should try it. It's been, I hate to say because I sound like such a terrible husband, but I can't remember the last time we had a 24-hour period where I really fully disconnected from work and just had nice couple time. It was actually really, really lovely, and I think much better than giving half your attention for 5 days. All your attention for 1 day is so much nicer. You should try it. Not being judgmental of your relationship, I just know you're a workaholic.
Yes, I am.
So let's jump in now and take a look at some pictures. So first of all, our theme for this week was patterns. We got some cool ones coming through. For next week, because with the staycation and what we're all going through right now, I think it's been long enough now that it's not a tease, but maybe a good sense of motivation to think about the future. I'm going to make our theme travel. So send in some of your travel shots from 2018, 2019 is fine, or domestic, local travel that you've done in 2020, 2021 as well. So if you head on over to the live page, you can enter your shot over there. All the directions are there. But so let's get up the Lightroom. Now I have to first apologize to Steph because the first image is going to freak you out slightly. But this is how it goes. What can I say? So, Mr. Weiss, A. Weiss. So now I know you're in the room. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you set up the studio shot? Do you remember, Steph? There was a shot of like, I forget his name, some European cartoon character, and it was like shot on the moon, and he showed the behind the scenes, and it was like this whole setup where he'd made a model of the moon and everything. Just focus on me. Get over it. It's a photo.
Okay.
You remember that shot? I think it was like Tintin.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think maybe that was the same guy. And if it is, then I'm guessing you built this entire thing, staged all of the bugs, and just built this entire thing as a little set in your room. So Steph is a bug phobe. I'm sure there's a more elegant name for that than bug phobe. But just looking at it as a shot, I think it's really brilliantly done. There's a lot of things to give people the heebie-jeebies, apart from the one down here that's had the Vlad the Impaler treatment done to it. Whoops, there you go. Now everyone can see what's coming. Or this one that's like, looks like he's being knighted, but actually probably they're both already dead. And then these little berries in the background are wonderfully tryptophobic for anyone who has that skin crawly feeling when they see those kind of things. But in terms of the amount of effort that's gone into this, 10 out of 10. In terms of, like, it's showing life cycles, and that's certainly a pattern. I don't think in terms of line and pattern, that's what makes this shot work, although the migration of empty shells certainly has a big impact. I don't think that as a pattern shot, it's hugely outstanding, but I do think it's a fantastic shot. So I'm going to give it a pick, but I don't think it can be a winner for this week. And Steph, shall we just move on?
Yeah, let's...
Okay, so I'll cover the bugs, you cover the butts. Here we go.
There's more bugs.
No, you cover the
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
you cover butts, I'll cover bugs.
But there's more bugs.
No, I'm just saying the next shot is butts. So you talk about butts and
Okay.
I talk about bugs. Calm the
Sorry,
fuck
a
down.
little.
You live in Jersey. There's bugs all around you.
Yeah, well, better for me not to like just okay. Anyways,
Yes, agreed.
but these are more pleasant to look at. um, oh, that's a really interesting back tattoo. I like that the colors pop. It is a little trippy though. I think it's a composite
Yes. It's
because
the same
that
shot, just
person is very, yeah, the composite, right, of the same shot, but this.
I wouldn't even call it a composite. They've just taken the same thing and rotated it 90 degrees each direction and stuck it together. So
I feel like with the neon though, like you could have potentially gotten a better shot to portray like patterns if you just kind of like went in on the oh my god,
fishnet?
what do you call it? Yes, the fish topping. I am like so that photo broke me. Oh hi Lucky. Wanna bring me back?
Actually, this
It's
is a
still kind of
nice
fit.
accidental thing. But if you've seen, I've shared shots with fishnets before that I think maybe work with what Steph was saying. And actually, this wasn't planned. Araki, the Japanese photographer, has a whole series on fishnets as well that you might want to explore in terms of using patterns. Nice one. Hello, Lucky. You don't look that chubby, but it's probably because you just had a bath and you're all... Isn't it funny, when they're wet like that, it's probably the cleanest he'll be all month, but because he's not super floofy, he doesn't look as clean to me. You know, looks like he's been...
Yeah. I mean, he's still wet. His curls behind his ears are not as curly because he's still wet. I need to cut his nails and around his paws. He's so cute.
Hello, buddy. Love you. Miss you. Thomas Rayner in the chat just said he got his $500 KEH coupon. Congratulations. He was the winner from the New Year, New Gear giveaway. So congrats, buddy. Thank you for that. Thanks for letting us know. Let's jump in and we'll look at 5 photos total. So let's look at 3 more and then we'll come back and look at your questions. I see one is sending me some through. So use Ask Matt or Ask Steph in the chat and they'll get sent to us. I also have the ones on my phone to go through. So next up, let's see, is it a butt or a bug, butt or a bug, butt or a bug? Oh, it's a bug. Sorry, Steph, this is mine. That's quite a funny delineation. You talk about butts and I'll talk about bugs. So this one from Carolyn Vine.
Oh.
Okay. So when we're going through these, when I give a topic like patterns or this, that, or the other, it needs to have patterns, or it needs to, if the theme was blue or the theme was shadows, it needs to have that element to be in it. So in a sense, patterns or shadows or the lines, they're always in an image. So everything really qualifies. Then is it a great photo? And is the theme, in this case, patterns, what's making it a great image? So this one, you actually have to think about it a little. It doesn't seem like a pattern, but the fact that it is so jumbled, this little critter, as much as it may make Steph's skin crawl, is perfectly evolved to live in that environment and that predators won't see it amongst that pattern of grass, or are less likely to, and it's thereby selected and passes on its genetic information. And the little faces probably remind its predators of something poisonous that they're not meant to eat or whatever. So in that sense, it's pretty cool. As an overall image though, it looks like, I don't know, not a cell phone shot, but a close-up flash shot. The head is out of focus. The pattern on its back, which I guess in this case is understandable, is in focus. I think if you were actually to go in and do some macro stuff or get a greater depth of field, try some different compositions, I think you could get something even stronger here. But as always, thank you for sending in something that will creep Steph out. Thank you, Carolyn. Any more butts for Steph? Here we go. This is not a butt, but it's a face. Do you want to talk about Charles Young's Jaipur?
I appreciate that it's not a bug. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Gosh, I swear if we get more bugs, I don't think I'll be able to do this episode. Um, okay, I mean this definitely fits the pattern theme for this week. I just think are the stairs behind it just like lopsided or am I just like tripping?
No, it is a little off level. But
Okay.
there's a couple of
Um
things. So let's actually do that. I guess you guys won't see the grid lines and everything that I'm doing here. Or will you? I don't think so. But so if I go to straighten it based on the stairs, we get to about there. But then the metal bars aren't straight. So unless you're perfectly directly in front in the center of the staircase, you'll have a perspective distortion where the side that you're closer to of the stairs in the distance looks fatter because it's closer, so it looks bigger, and the one that's further away looks skinnier, which gives a perspective distortion that it looks like it's falling into that direction. So I actually think he made the right choice by making the strong verticals be what's looking level and let the stairs fall away. A way that he could have emphasized that more, and I was already thinking this, is a little bit more contrast. So if you brought the whites of them up a little and let the shadows fall away a little bit more, then the level of the stairs becomes less apparent. Okay, sorry to talk over you, Steph. Go ahead.
oh no, that's perfectly fine. I would like to see this shot black and white. I feel like it would look really interesting if it was in black and white. But I do like the patterns that the gates kind of create and also even the lines of the stairs behind. Um and I like that you have the person like within the like the little frame. I think that's really cool too.
So I agree with everything Steph said. Certainly a strong pattern theme. I think this kind of black and white edit does bring it out more. I don't think it's a fantastic standalone shot, however. And the thing that makes I find funny is we see the three big padlocks and the strong fence. The look of menace on his face. I'm wondering, I'm more scared of him that like who's being protected from who here. He's locked in or I'm locked out. What's actually going on here? Is it a security so you don't break into the shop, or is that actually the exit to like a prison or something like that?
I didn't even notice that the locks are inside on his side of it too. So
So maybe
okay,
I'm inside the
huh?
store and he's waiting for the Black Friday sales to open or something like that. Let's look at one more.
I mean,
Sorry, Steph.
I guess wait, like he's also carrying a tool. Like that's a little threatening.
Or maybe it's a hardware supplies shop. But anyway,
Oh,
Chris Dellinger patterns.
oh,
On the thumbnail, you guys can't see the thumbnail, but it looks like a hugu, like a Japanese puffer fish, because the way the highlights are, they all look like little spiny bits on a tiny image. Um, what is it actually? Like a Christmas decoration or something like that?
it looks like an ornament. I would assume it's an ornament, but I like it. I think maybe I don't know what was done in like the post production part, but it seems like maybe there was not vignetting, but like I guess there was this bokeh added outside, and it doesn't seem too natural in terms of the fall off in focus. But I like it. I know Chris has like submitted a lot of like shots before, but I think that this one's actually pretty good.
Yeah, and I don't think I agree. And he's submitted some quite good shots in the past as well. But this is something quite different for him compared to what you're normally entering. Now, I don't know if it's actually that he's added blur, but I think maybe it's had an added vignette, which makes the sides fall away more. So let's now jump out and take a look at some questions. Let's see, what have we had sent through? Um, there we go. Um, James Sanders. Do you plan on going back to that China store? I love the video you captured of the man hand painting the bowls. If you guys are watching right now,
Oh,
if you go to my stories, maybe I should save it as one of those highlights before it disappears. So It's quite funny. These stores, they're getting less common, but probably there's loads of them out there. But this one is getting popular now. I am totally guessing, but I think maybe the daughter of the owners is now taking photos of cool pieces, and it has an Instagram following, this shop. So basically, it's a old traditional hand painted ceramic store. Back in the day and still to today, Hong Kong was famous for that, obviously, as part of China. And they're still doing that. So it's this hugely crowded store. It's actually 3 stores connected in an industrial building. And I was terrified because 1, I'm clumsy, and 2, I'm chubby. Some of the alleys I couldn't even get down. Like, I physically couldn't get down, let alone being careful, couldn't get down. This cup is actually from there. Quite funny. I saw 2 cups that I really liked and I bought them. This one didn't have a price tag. And the store, the old lady who runs it is so honest in Cantonese. She told my wife, "Oh, that's an ugly cup. You sure you want that one? I think we have a better one." And they went in and got an alternative. And I said, no, I want this one. She said, "Oh, okay," and gave it to me at a discount. Will I go back there?
my god.
I'm not sure because it's quite expensive. It is cool to look around, but the stuff varies from, like, this cup was maybe like $5 or $6 US, but then it goes through to individual hand painted plates that they're surprisingly heavy, but they wouldn't necessarily, they look like they could have just been machine made, some of them. Some look quite imperfect and ye olde. But then you can get up to several hundreds of dollars for a dinner plate, for a single dinner plate, or for a big bowl or something, like $500 or $1,000 for some of the big ones. Oh, and Kate's actually bringing it in.
I have to break
I
it
don't
or
like to see
Oh.
the. I don't want to touch it. This is what I mean. So this is sorry. This is the cup.
Do they have to break it, you buy it policy?
I imagine so. They'd have to. This is the other cup I got, and I really like this one. They call it the crackle pattern. But so this is the one of the bowls Kate got, which is
Ooh.
quite heavy, and the painting is really nice. I don't know what we'll exactly use it for, but when I think about, from IKEA, just a boring ass white bowl might cost like $5, and how much this costs, I'm like, I don't want to touch it. Why would you bring it in here? You know what I'm like. Oh, I'm going to break that live on air. It's going to be terrible. But so maybe we'll go back. Probably. I know my mum would love some of the stuff in there. So hopefully before we get to see her again when I'm going back, I'll go and pick her up something. Yes. Any other questions here? Stephen Negret. Okay, actually that's a good idea. Kate's going to take the bowl back so I don't smash it. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, that's
I'm going
That's very
to follow
wise.
your lead on your new system and model rather than the D850. Are you still happy with your choice? So what he's talking about there, I went from being a DSLR shooter. Now this is like something that I think every photographer or YouTube photographer or whatever you want to classify me as did 3 or 5 years ago. It took me until last year. I'm actually doing a little series explaining why I went for this instead of Fuji, instead of Canon, instead of Sony, just to explain the thought process. But Stephen, to answer your question directly, yes, I'm really enjoying it. And I can honestly say at the moment, there's nothing about the D850 that I missed, and that was a near perfect DSLR for me. But 2 huge caveats on that. Oh, what was that noise?
I was lucky.
Oh, hey, buddy. 2 big caveats. One, what works for me won't necessarily work for you. There will be people out there who will hate this for whatever reason, and the DSLR would be a better choice for them. And if we were talking in 2018 or 2019, I did the same cost-benefit analysis and use case analysis of what I was shooting, how I was shooting, what it would cost me, what the options on the market were, and it wasn't worth it for me. So the fact that I'm no longer traveling the world all the time, leading tours, I am using my gear in different ways. So that factored into it. So to answer your question, yes, I'm happy with it. I just want to put it out there that that doesn't mean that you will be as well. You really need to think about what you shoot, how you shoot, what your preferences are, what your budget is, all of those things, and make the decision for yourself. I'm happy to give feedback, but I don't want to tell people this is the right camera for everyone, or even this is the right camera for people photographers or for people who shoot exactly what I shoot, because preferences and style is different. Let's take a look here. I need some questions for Steph. Come on, guys, fire up, ask Steph, send me in a question. I'm just going to jump into my story here on Instagram where I asked people to send us through some questions and see what we had come through here. Here's a nice one. So it's actually aimed at me, but let's do it for both of us. What positives came out of 2020 for you? Steph?
Actually, I think that there were quite a bit of positives. I think one of the biggest things is, Matt knows I'm a workaholic, which is not a good thing, people, because you need to find time to take a break. So I think 2020 has definitely taught me that, to just kind of take a step back and enjoy life a little bit, because before I would be working constantly, pulling all-nighters, just booked like shoots after shoots, and it was just draining. So I think that that's one of the positives. And with that too, I was able to like really focus on what I need to get done in terms of like art school dropouts. So yeah, that's my positive.
That's great. It's a funny thing. It's kind of, I'm thinking now about the camera advice I gave and how you want to be honest and direct, but then also not generalize. And of course, it goes without saying, a lot of people suffered last year. A lot of people died. A lot of people lost their businesses. It's no joke, and we're not minimizing that. But of course, there are still, there's funny moments on terrible days, and there's good things to come out of bad years. For example, I think rather than specifics, for me, it gave me a chance to kind of take stock and figure out what I was doing, what I wanted to be doing, what I should be doing differently, what I valued, and maybe you don't always recognize what you value until you don't have it. Like even moving to Hong Kong, most of the things about New York that I thought I'd miss, I haven't thought about. But then there's little things that now that I don't have access to them, I realize, I never realized that gave me something every week, that was nourishing me somehow. So I think that was, for me, a big one. And, now I have a weekly family video chat, which we still do, which is really nice. And I hope we'll keep doing it once we can even travel, which we had never done in the past. And to be honest, in terms of business, 2020 was a great year. I feel bad to say it when I know so many people struggled, but it was always on the plans for me to run fewer tours and to focus on building up some online businesses. And by being home 24/7 for a year, I was able to really double down my efforts on that, and it's going really, really well. So, overall, it's it's not all positives, but there were definitely some. One more from the Instagram ones, one more from live, and then we'll go back to the photos. How's the adjustment to the Hong Kong lifestyle? I'm sure it's different from that of the US. Yes, certainly. It's been really, so far, good. I think I'm probably in the honeymoon phase. I've been here since about the 6th or 8th of November. Oh, the 8th, because I left on election day. I had 2 weeks of quarantine, then I had a month of house hunting, and then we've just finally gotten in here and we're unpacking. So we've probably caught up with friends and family more frequently than we will in reality. We've gone to see, restaurants and temples and stuff that we've missed quickly. And I'm just getting into a good work routine now. So it's probably been easier and nicer than the reality of the rest of the year is going to be. Also, I'm so glad we came at this time of year. December and January are the two mildest months of weather. So it's been around, like this week is 15 to 22, 24 degrees, blue skies, little breeze. it's been lovely. In like 3 or 4 months, it's going to be, 90% humidity and 35-degree Celsius weather all the time. It's going to be probably quite unbearable. Last question then, and then we'll get back to the photos. Oh, actually, so we have a stalker in the room. Steph, should Manny buy a Pentax or a Z7 Mark II? Do either of those come in
For
a?
me? Sure, Manny.
No. He's
You could buy
asking.
one for me and one for Matt.
Well, I mean, he's got all of that cash, right? But no, I think he means it for himself. Do either of those come in a child starter edition? I don't think they do. Maybe you want to get one of those like Ricoh tough cameras that does everything for you and it won't break, as you're quite clumsy with things as well. And I know you're just so incredibly strong, you might accidentally crush something.
Gosh, I know.
Instax camera is
Just the
probably the
button
way
and
to go, I'd say. And then see if your lovely wife can teach you how to use it. Let's see.
God.
And that's something. Maybe it's the time difference, but I actually miss kind of breaking Manny's balls and vice versa. So it's nice to see you, Manny. It's
Yeah.
nice to see your icon. Actually seeing you is horrific. It's not a pleasant experience at all, but just seeing the icon and the text is quite nice. Last one here, and then we'll jump back in. Actually, there's two good ones here. How have you handled the language? I guess John means in Hong Kong. So Hong Kong officially, the official languages are Cantonese, English, and Mandarin. So government departments, banks, all of those must-do services you can get by with English. Street signs are in English and Cantonese. Little local stores, maybe not, but I do speak. It's like a laughably little amount, but enough to ask questions, to order food, to get directions, that kind of thing, find the toilet, find the essentials basically. So it's been fine. And Jerry Dalton, what monitors do you use for editing? I use these ones. There's actually two here. You probably can't see them both on camera. But they're ISO monitors. I have the 318 and the 319, which are both 4K monitors. Can I actually jump out and show you that? Where is it? Having said that, I have to go through and recalibrate them because I'm having difficulty since the move getting the colors that I need from them. I hope it hasn't been damaged in transit. But these ones have built in a spectrometer that drops down here and they'll self-calibrate themselves to make sure that you're seeing what's actually in the file. And then they both have hoods, which I currently have here because it would have blocked off the desk too much. This is so nice. We had a couple of donations here. One is to help pay for Manny's camera. That's nice. I'll make sure that his wife gets that and puts it towards his Christmas fund. And Thomas Reiner sending a couple of euros as well. I would send that to Manny, but I don't think he has a passport, so he's not likely to use euros. Let's keep it to dollars for that little fella. Or candy. I think he also values that quite highly.
Oh, Yobo texted me. So question from 101 blog. Steph, would you move to say LA to maximize your filmmaking? I don't think so. I think the market there is like it's just way too saturated and everybody moves to LA. I think making moves here on the East Coast and just being like the East Coast, like indie, like martial arts comedy filmmaking group is kind of our goal. So I don't think I'll be moving to the West Coast. I don't know. It's like it's a different vibe there. And I think I'll just stay here on the East Coast. It's more me.
Definitely a vibe, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump in and look at some more photos. Try to move past that difficult experience of the stalker in the room. Where are we? Image review. We go. Okay, so thank you, Chris. Clay Campbell. So I mean, she looks like she's ready for a day at the cafes along the beach at some lovely resort area. Um, I think she looks nice. Her outfit is lovely. Her pose is thoughtful. Um, the patterns in the background work. Well, there's a pattern in the background. I don't see the whole image coming together really, though. Maybe if you had her off the post boxes with a fast aperture blurred out, then you would just have like a nice grid pattern that could be a background for her that would, help isolate her. But unless there is a message here that I'm missing, um, she seems beautifully dressed to go get the mail. What did you wear today, Steph? I saw you went. You sent me a photo of the all your mail, having not collected it for a few days.
Been wearing a hoodie and PJ pants, and also I have a blanket that I just wrap around me, and I have like these butterfly clips that I clip it, and it looks like I have a cape when I like walk around the apartment. So,
You were one of those
yep.
kids who had like a metal lunchbox at high school, right? You thought it was really weird and quirky.
Oh no, are you serious? Like I have Asian parents. It wouldn't even, like in those movies, like they get paper bags. No, mine's like the grocery store bags that says like thank you, and it's just here you go. Like okay,
How
yay.
how this is a weird segue, but how is your mum? I also kind of miss her. She was so lovely and hilarious on the when we shot the wedding day video. She was my favorite thing about the day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, my mom and dad, they're doing pretty good. She calls me every day. I'm like, hi mom, and she's just like, hi. I was like, okay, what's up? He's like, I can't just call you and just say I miss you. Do you miss me? I'm like, whoa, mom, of course I miss you. But yeah, actually the wedding shoot was probably like one of the most memorable moments with my mom of just crying and laughing, but not able to stop crying and laughing and just confused about what was going on.
Cool. Okay, sorry, let's get back to the photos. Clay, very good. Say hi to your mum for me, Steph. Next photo. Colin Cameron, very on topic with the popularity of, what was it, Queen's
The
Gambit?
game or something. Yeah. Have you watched
I
it?
have.
Sorry.
Although I don't know this formation, it would be a strange game if you ended up with all your pawns in the center like that. And I don't think pawns can take straight. Or maybe there was just a gap there. So, a couple of things. It is really underexposed. If you guys, not to turn this into a lesson, but if you're not familiar with it, I understand we look at photos on all kinds of different devices. If you're looking on your phone, that's generally much brighter than what is correct. And people's home monitors tend to be a lot brighter as well. But if you look and learn how to use your histogram, you'll know what's actually in the file. So looking at this, I can tell you there's basically nothing above about 40% in from shadows through to highlights. So there's not even any true midtones in this. So we could push this by, that's a stop, that's two stops, and we still aren't near the white point. Probably like, yeah, about almost three stops gets you up to an image that has real highlights. So I think you could, if you want it to still be dark and mysterious, you could at least bring it up like a stop and a half and maybe boost what are its midtones so you're not blowing out the whites, and that works a little bit better. Um, the pattern is something, but think about using the pattern and the line in this case to lead us to the action. So what if we had the things, what are they called? Chess pieces, kind of coming from one side across to the hand rather than this straight line, because the line draws us to the hand and then the hand's cut off and then our eye goes nowhere. So it doesn't kind of lead you through the shot in a way that you'd want. What do you think, Steph?
Um, I know absolutely nothing about chess. Tim was convinced that if we watched Queen's Gambit, that I might actually learn from the show, but I only watched one episode and just didn't have time to watch any more. I agree about the exposure for the shot. I personally would have liked to see a shot like really close to the board and just like I don't even know how to explain it. Um, just from like that angle
Yeah, yeah. So
where
then the
it's like
pieces look huge. So it's like low with a wide angle. Is that what you mean? So then you're looking up at the
yeah,
pieces.
kind
I've
of.
never. That's actually an epic shot. I've never seen that shot. But if you had the camera like here, and you've got your pawn here, and you had like a 12 mil lens, and then from behind, so the person's coming in to grab that piece, they would look like a giant. It's kind of the shot. We haven't done it yet, but I have a series coming where I'm showing how to shoot a composite doing something like that with Ricard, where it's me as a monster reaching down to grab a person, and we shot all of the elements separately, and then he shows how to put it together. That could be quite cool. We should. That would have been
Like
great
I
if
don't
I
know.
had
It
actually
seems cool
planted
in my
that.
head. I just don't know how to explain it.
That turned
I was
into a
like,
nice little teaser for what's coming up. If only we had planned that, we could put those in every week. Cool. Let's take a look. Oh, we have a lot of photos actually. So let's move quicker on the photos and we'll get back to the
yeah,
questions. For those who are just joining now, letting you know that next week our theme is going to be travel. And that if you're getting annoying messages from this guy Manny in the chat, just, ignore him. He's harmless. There's no need to block him. Okay. Darren Clisby. So I think Darren entered some shots from this series in the last one. It took me a second to figure out what's going
yeah.
on here, but I think it is a piece of fabric that has kind of been wrapped around her, but then is also on the ground, because the way the flowers sit, it can't be a big bodysuit. You look at like her armpit and then the one on her right thigh where it doesn't wrap around, it looks wrong. But I think if you think of it as like
Oh,
a shawl that's probably been clipped behind her and then is on the ground, I think that's what's going on here.
oh, for some reason, I thought it was just like a sheet of lace that's, I guess, um, just hanging in front of the lens, and then he's just shooting through it. I didn't know like she's actually like draped in it.
Let's have
And
a
then the
look.
bottom is like edge of that fabric.
Looking at the way, I think it's wrapped around her, but I could be wrong. Like looking at how some of the flowers are stretched, it looks like it's pulled around her, but could be wrong. But in any case, it's
Wait,
Darren's in the room. It's a flat sheet on a wooden frame shooting through. So Darren, Steph is right, and I am
oh.
wrong, and you guys are so smart. Nicely done. Actually, the hand I can see it, but the shoulders I couldn't really see it. So cool technique. I like the position of, I especially like the positioning. I hope you got some just headshots, because the way that wraps around her eyes and frames the nose and everything, I think looks really great. Nicely done. So pick. Um, David Putt.
Pick. I forgot to do
Oh,
pick.
the next one is butts, Steph. So this is your domain.
Oh, that is so cool. Um, Dang. All right, that tattoo. I mean, the tattoos on her just super badass. Uh, Usually I feel like this shot. It's really hard if you're gonna be sitting on a bed or anything like that, because your butt naturally just kind of like, I guess it goes missing with like the sheets and just like how soft the bed is. But this actually, her butt looks very
I
nice
don't
and
think
just
this
how
is
it
a
curves.
bed. I think
Um,
you nailed it. I think this is a sheet
yeah,
over a hard surface.
yeah, which is a great way to cheat shots, like to make
But
sure that the
having
butt
said that,
doesn't
if
go
someone's
missing.
wearing a thong in that kind of a position, in a long shoot with little movements around, you can have wardrobe malfunctions. Having a little bit of sheet covering privates is actually, it's a good insurance policy. But what Steph's saying is right. If this were a soft plush bed, you might lose half the butt into the pillow top. So sorry, Steph, continue.
I Okay, I'm gonna give this a pick. I think like it's a little overblown, like in the background wise, but I'm actually okay with it. It gives like a haloing effect to like her. I really like this, and the pattern is spot on. I don't know if you had edited all of that, or like she actually had to put her arms in that sense. But regardless, I think it still looks really amazing.
My feeling is that so you could do this a couple of ways of like the one we did of you with all of your arms and we shot them in different positions and put together the masks. Um, I no disrespect David, but I don't think this is it. I think he took a single shot and then just cut that in because the hands are exactly the same. So he's just put three of the hands on each side to make this shot. Now, on Steph's point of the background being blown out, it's not really, well, it is slightly, but not to a crazy degree, but it's more that then her back looks underexposed. So if this is the edit I did on it, just bringing up those midtones so it kind of balances a little bit better, I think that works better. If you're going to blow out the background, either then have her as a silhouette, but if you want to get the cool back tattoos, I think that probably works a little bit better, but nicely done. Dirk Hassis, I really like this shot. The steps showing you the way up, the crazy perspective distortion. I'd probably like it even better if the guy were slightly more off to one side. So let's just cheat it and do it. Putting him like somewhere around there, I think works even better. But I think that's a cool perspective and a cool pattern. It really does lead us up through the shot to him. I'm just going to motor through 3 or 4 so that we get our way through here. So let's do it like this, Steph. Let's take it in turns. I'll talk about one, you talk about one, and let's just speed review the next 6. So the next one is yours. Ian Sanderson.
Ian Sanderson. Actually, I don't really feel like I get much of a pattern feel with this shot. I mean, I think I would just have to dig a little bit more to see the pattern besides like the multiple arches, but I feel like you could have really shown these arches from a different angle.
I agree.
Yeah, okay.
And this kind of feels like an Instagrammy kind of edit. There's no true shadows in it and the kind of the green coming through the blues. I agree with Steph though. James Sanders. Okay, so yes, obvious patterns. This looks like a plant or probably a fake plant in a pot that has a strong pattern. So you've used a hard off-camera flash to create strong light and shadow, which really accentuates the pattern on the bowl. So well done in that respect. Just for if you're entering a shot, if you're sharing a shot generally to friends who aren't trying to give you feedback, it doesn't matter. But if you're sending in a shot for a competition or a sharing, having the tops kind of cut on the edge like that it stands out when you're critically looking at an image, so just be aware of that. Having said that, I don't think the pattern really makes the shot, and at the end of the day, it is still kind of a snapshot of a plant against a black background. There's not a lot that will keep you staying and studying the image for terribly long. Jerry?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said.
We're so agreeable. Oh, miss you. Why was it when I lived in America you could only frickin' argue all the time? Your shot, Jerry Dalton.
What? I didn't. I mean, no, whatever. Oh my god, this is like my day to day. This is me like working on my iPad and having like a cup of tea. I like the leading lines like from I guess the blinds. I think that's really cool. I would assume that that's a plant that's also casting a silhouette or a shadow. But I think that this shot could do better if it was like cropped in closer.
Cool. Then you have the lines leading you to the cup, so probably cropping it from the left-hand side. And yes, I think that plant is a silhouette that's actually in the foreground. See, now I'm a sucker for, people say you shouldn't crop your shots, which I think is just horse shit. I don't think every shot looks best as a 6x4. I think this works better, a little bit squarer than rectangular. Keith Zilster. So Manny, if you're still in the room, this is the kind of camera I was suggesting you should get. An Olympus Tough camera. Pretty easy to use, but if you get some lessons from Keith, you can get some nice results with it once you learn how to use it properly. So, I mean, I think it's really cool to shoot a shot of a big snowflake like that, if it is a real one. everyone knows that they're all unique, so you have some interesting patterns going on there. But having said that, the image quality doesn't do something so crazy and unique and beautiful justice. So maybe work on your lighting, work on your focus so you're getting everything that you need in focus. If this were really crisp, I think it could be really quite stunning. And your one, Steph, oh, you got a good one. What do you think of this?
Oh, that is so cool. It's so abstract and just trippy. I would assume this is under a bridge, maybe. I don't know, but I really like it. I like the editing that was done on it too, like the colors. Um, yeah, and I mean, it just looks freaking amazing. Pick.
Yep, already picked it for you. Agree. And
Oh,
what I really like about this one, it's so hard and it really throws you off if a shot is almost symmetrical but then isn't. This is like, it's pretty much, it is symmetrical. It's, if it's not, it's off by like 0.5%. And that's really difficult to get. As I said before, it depends on your perspective and not just necessarily being in the middle. You have to really spend some time to get that right. So nicely done, Mark. All right, two more, then we'll look at questions. Matthew Nerberson. Hey, there's no dancer in this shot. What the hell?
what a ripoff.
This is, I love this shot, and I'm biased because way back when, before I moved to America, I did a talk for B&H Photo, the, what do they call it, the event space there. And since I've done it at a few different trade shows and stuff, about thinking about, the concept of the talk was that you create a photo, you don't capture a photo. That capture is too simple of a term. You need to think of yourself as the author of the shot, even if you're not comfortable with the word artist. And one of the examples I give is the Eiffel Tower, that if you stand at the top of the promenade where all the tour buses stop, you can get a slightly better cloud pattern, you can do a better edit on it, you maybe get it when it's free of people, but the vantage point limits the shots you can get. But if you stand under it, there are unique perspectives. If you go onto the top of a department store and shoot through the buildings and get it within the city, that's another great vantage point on it. So here I think, again, it's damn near symmetrical, pretty close anyway, and a much more interesting vantage point than the one we always see. So nice one. And one more for Steph to judge. Milan Medek. These are critters, but not scary ones, I think.
Uh, actually, I'm scared of birds if they fly close to me. I'm okay otherwise. um, actually, okay. I feel like I wouldn't love this photo as much if it wasn't for the bird in flight in the right bottom
Yeah,
corner.
that kind of looks like it's looking at us. Like, what are you doing, bro?
It's like, did you just take a photo of me and my homies? Like, what? uh, I don't know. I actually really like it. It's, I don't know. It seems like it's a film shot. I have no idea if it is, but I just really like I guess the treatment or just how it looks. I give it a pick. I feel like it does
As soon
fit
as Steph remembers
the
that
pattern.
we have to give picks, she turns into a total pick monster.
Ah,
Okay, so
I mean, it's good. I like it.
where is my mouse? This is what I mean. This monitor, I'm going to have to get it looked at because it's, I'm not seeing the contrast that I should. I can barely find my cursor. Here we go. So let's look at some questions. But I think Manny's wife probably took his iPad privileges away. He's gone.
And
Oh, Steph, get yourself ready for some serious compliments here. First a neg and then a compliment. Is Steph tired? She's staying up so late to do this. Compliment. P.S. We're talking about the most beautiful girl in the world. Just saying. She's a woman, not a girl. Just saying. But that's sweet of you to say. Are you tired, Steph?
thank you. I am not. Actually, I love staying up. I don't know. I would rather stay up late than like wake up really early in the morning. So back when I had to go do shoots with Matt, Jesus, it was so hard. It's like I gotta wake up and then drive like 2.5 hours to New York. but I got used to it, and listening to like podcasts and whatnot. But these work well for me. If I had a choice, sometimes I would rather do like live streams in the middle of the night, and I used to actually on like Instagram, but then I realized, huh, no one's awake at 4 in the morning.
It's funny you say that because we're
To change
currently
that.
thinking that this is a really difficult time for Europe. Should I do, for example, I don't know that I want to do all three formats, but a YouTube live at 10 in the morning and then an Instagram live on a different day at 4 in the afternoon and then something at midnight, just so then you have each audience has a
Everybody,
chance to join
yeah.
in actually live. Sean Mangan says your hair looks great, Steph. Weiss
Oh,
asked, does
I finally showered after God knows how long. I'm just kidding.
wow. Actually, that's all I did this morning as well, was my hair. Didn't have a full shower. When I got up, washed my face to get ready for this, I realized my hair was like total crazy professor, so I just washed my hair to get it down like the usual spider web that it is. Sorry, Weiss asked, does one stop refer to a specific unit or is it a turn of phrase? So yes, it's a specific unit, but not a unit that you can just capture. It's not like a pound. When we talk about stops, we're talking about halving or doubling our exposure. So if you go from 1/1000th of a second shutter speed to 1/2000th of a second, that is a stop. If you go from f8 to f5.6, that's also a stop. If you go from ISO 100 to 200, it's also a stop. So it's a shorthand for increasing or decreasing your exposure. Basically, you're doubling it. So if you increase it by a stop, it gets twice as bright. If you increase it by another stop, it gets twice as bright again, which means it's 2 times 2, so 4 times where you started out. Hope that makes sense. And it's also something that there are countless YouTube videos on. I've covered it a lot, and all of my different photography courses, pretty much that are to do with light anyway, cover that in some way, shape, or form. Steph, do you plan on making more videos of you doing different kicks like you posted on IG?
I mean, that's pretty much most of what I do on my YouTube channel is this fight scene. Actually, I think Joy and I were going to do a test fight sometime soon. I think maybe next week. So yeah, more kicking. I've been working on it, and because I've been so out of shape from last year, and I haven't worked out as much. So lately, I've been doing a lot of kicks in my apartment, and my hips are cracking, and I'm just feeling old.
How is Joey?
He's doing fine, actually. I see him once in a while, like when we're not filming. He'll just like stop by and he'll just like drop off food for me, and he's like, "Oh, well, I'm testing out food, so you're my guinea pig. Here's a bento." I'm like, "Ooh, yay, food!"
Well,
Not gonna
give him my
complain.
best. Um, I didn't mention it at all. For those of you who've been watching for the past hour, sorry, I didn't mention this. Our posing guide is finally live. If you didn't see it last week, I put it live at the end of last week. It wasn't a gimmick. I was editing it all the first half of this year. I sent it out to Joe and Steph to both review their parts and get feedback. And it's now live over at Art Nude Portraiture, and it's up on a launch sale, and that will just be up for this month. So if you're interested in learning how to pose your models with Steph as one of the models, you can check that out. Sorry that I forgot to mention that. So we have lots more questions. Sean Vine has a very important question, and you better be honest about this one. He asked, did you ever get your
Me?
donut delivery?
No, I did not.
You have to be honest about why.
Uh,
It's not because I didn't want
okay,
to. You
it's
said not to send it yet. So she will get her donut delivery. I don't want to have a
well, it's because I was
reputation
doing.
for being someone who promises something on air and then doesn't deliver. I'm the kind of guy, if I say I'll do something drunk even, I do it the next day. She will be getting a delivery of donuts. She told me not to send it yet. I'm not having any kind of stigma about
I need
being.
to work out. I need to earn it. I need to earn it because okay, as much as I will argue it, I'll admit, yes, I do eat a lot of the donuts. When we went to get Krispy Kreme donuts in Vegas, I ate a lot of it. Like you said, I just need to earn it because I know I will destroy it.
Well, I'll just send it to Timmy then,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah,
can work on
well,
your willpower as well as your fitness.
there is no such thing as willpower with me. I literally sometimes sit here and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to eat a spoonful of Nutella just because. And then after I have that one spoonful, I'm like, you know what? A second
It would be
one,
disrespectful to
two.
the jar if I only had one.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm like, you know what? I'll do two. I have to do dishes anyways. Might as well just get another.
All right, let's.
Makes sense to me.
Yes, just don't confuse your Nutella jar with your Vegemite jar. Just saying. Um, Let me switch us back to our pickies. We still have quite a few left, so I think we have 6, 7, or 8. So let's take a look at the last ones and we'll come back for your questions. So again, please keep sending them in. We will get to them at the end. Um, Carsten Larson. I think there's definitely potential here, but I don't know that we got it yet. The maybe going back at night when the workers aren't there and getting like some wide angle shot with the construction equipment's fork leading you to that, using just that background as a portrait background could be interesting, or getting a perspective that shows like the pile of rubble that we can see a little bit of there, and the new structure, and maybe the old building. If there's a way to bring all of those together, that could be pretty interesting. Next one is yours, Steph.
I think the
Sorry.
left building is very
The
interesting.
left what?
I think the left building looks very interesting. Yeah,
Um,
like this the straight line. Um, yeah. Okay, so next one. Whoa,
Philip Livingston. That
this
looks like a
this is
bar in the Sydney Opera House.
there's a bar in the Sydney Opera House.
There's loads, and restaurants, and
I never. I mean, I saw it, just didn't get to walk up close to it,
so
and this was
under a lot of
years
the
ago.
minor sales like this, like right this time of year actually, now it's boiling hot. There's an outdoor area that you can walk along and take photos. That's the part that looks across onto the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So there they'd be in the indoor part, and so along the, if you're coming from the Sydney CBD, the left side and the whole front is filled with restaurants and whatnot. I would like one great restaurant and a couple of
Okay.
bars. And then this was probably part of each year in Sydney, they have an illumination festival where they project things onto different buildings. What's it called? Vivid, I think. I did a talk there a couple of years ago. They have a photo exhibition in the Cargo Bar or something, just across the water from here. So that's all projected from somewhere. It looks pretty cool. I think it looks cooler from a distance, but it's still quite an interesting composition. Sorry, this is your critique.
Oh, I think it's cool. I mean, I think the Sydney Opera House, as is, it's like without the projection, I think that that would already make a really interesting pattern shot. But with the projection, I feel like I think a closer shot would actually work better. Just because there's just so much going on with like the colors, and then there's like the people inside, and then there's the light from inside. I feel like it would have been a little bit better just to get closer onto like the projected like colors on the sails.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So
that's
for someone who is just looking at this one shot in isolation, I can totally see what Steph's going for. For Philip, as someone who has seen 100,000 photos of the opera house and 50,000 photos of it being illuminated from a distance as part of this festival, it's a cool shot, but this is a version I've never seen. So maybe going a little tighter, but I actually think that this is at least something unique that at the end of Vivid every year you see every friend who has a tripod has a shot of the full opera house. Next one here, Seth Cantor. What do you think that is? Does that look like lava? Or maybe not. It's maybe just like a dried riverbed or something like that. It also kind of looks like the side of a walrus or a king seal, if you've ever seen one
Oh, I was gonna say
sunning
like,
on the beach.
yeah, I guess like,
Oh my goodness.
I guess you could say like my really dry
A
skin,
macro
like a
shot of
really cold.
my nose. um, there's a new doco, well, new for me. I think it's called Our Planet. It's narrated by Attenborough, and some of the shots in it are so unbelievable. I keep thinking they must be CGI because they just look, even for where documentaries are now, I can't believe it. But they were showing in South Georgia Island where all of these walruses now are coming onto the island, and it's like, I think there was like 100,000 of them on one beach, and they literally have to crawl over each other because their sea ice is gone, and it really looked like this. There was just bodies of grey blubber everywhere. So I like this one, but I'm just noticing this is labeled shadows. So maybe this was actually submitted
Oh,
late for the shadows comp, but it works as patterns. So anyway,
yeah, it
I think
does.
it probably works even better for patterns than shadows, but it is the shadows that are giving us the pattern. It's the hard light that is illuminating reflecting the light into the lens on the top and then giving us the crack pattern thanks to that. If this were midday sun behind the camera, excuse me, the crack pattern wouldn't be nearly as pronounced. Sean Vine, Steph, your turn.
Is this inside of a dryer? It looks like it. It kind of triggers my tryptophobia a little bit because of like the holes. Ugh. But it's an interesting shot. Uh, yeah, I think it's the tryptophobia that's like, whew. Um, Oddly, I feel like I would like it closer, even despite the tryptophobia. But I feel like this shot would be nicer if it was like closer.
Yeah, I think this is one
Yeah.
where it kind of works because it's abstract. So being a bit more abstract
Hmm.
could really help. So let's try cropping it to the edge of that semicircle. And then I don't know if it needs to be a full black and white. I think the black and white kind of works though. But you could maybe increase the contrast a little. Yeah, that blue tinge that you get off the metal, kind of, it's a shame to lose that with the black and white. Cool. Stephen Negrete. So, leading lines. No, just a note, Stephen, in future, please put the competition name in your file name. So, it's certainly the pattern, shooting the piers is it is the leading line, the repeated shapes that make it work. Um, I'm wondering, would have focusing on the first pier been good? Then we get all of the lovely detail of the barnacles or whatever's growing on it. Or would that actually distract it? But it looks to me like you're focused way into the frame. Um, it qualifies, but I think there's so many more interesting shots you can get of piers that when I'm looking at this, I'm recalling the millions of crazy, beautiful, slightly long exposure, different vantage point shots that I've seen of this kind of a situation that, yeah, I think make it difficult. Any thoughts on this one, Steph, or you want to jump to the
Yeah.
next?
I think it would look nicer if it was like cropped in. I know I've been saying that the whole entire
Crop
time, like
monster!
this week, but yeah, I don't know. I just think there's so much distractions on like the left side and like the right. If you were to just kind of take away the ship and like just the pier part and just focus on like
So let's
the
make it a
pillars.
vertical, a portrait oriented shot. And like how tight do you want it, Steph? Like way in
Uh,
there?
from the
Maybe that's too much.
too much. I would want it to be like off centered. So like even keeping the left pillar all the way to even like the right pillar, like the far right, I think would be even okay too.
Cool. Some little feedback there for you, Stephen. This one from Thanos. I love getting shots of the sand dunes. If you frame it right, they can be so pretty and interesting. When I was in Namibia, I took all kinds of animals and tribes people and all of this beautiful stuff, but still several of my favorite shots from that entire trip were shots like this, up close, and then also from a light plane shooting it from a distance. Yeah, you can't beat nature for repeated patterns. Nice one.
Yeah.
And what about this one, Steph? Tin Vandenbrand. Looks like the salt flats. Now,
What is
I
this?
think it's salt flats. Now, this is one that from overhead would look incredible. If you guys, it
Yeah.
could be salt
I was
flats or it
gonna
could
say,
be
what does that look from top down?
it could be ice, it could be salt. If you guys check out my field tested videos, there's a shot going up from a drone over the ice, and it has these kind of repeated flake type bits. It's nice, it's not quite level, but I don't feel like the pattern, I think you do need the focus clear earlier on to really make the shot and the pattern come in. And it kind of feels like nothing's sharp. I'm not sure what's going on with this file. Um,
I don't know. I would just like to see it from top down just because of just all the like the edges that are popping
yeah.
up. I would love to see like what it actually looks like from that perspective.
I bet up really close like that, or from down low, shooting along those edges, that it probably looks like rusted, beams or something. But yeah, it's an interesting one that I know there's interesting patterns there, but I just can't really see them right in this file. So we have one more image, then we will take a look at some questions and give out some prizes. So that's quite pretty. Is the pattern that you get on the wood to do with the kind of blade you're using, I wonder, or like the speed of it or something like that, because those patterns don't look like they've come straight from the tree. I'm actually going to give that a pick. I find that really interesting. What do you think, Steph?
Yeah, I find it really interesting too, just like how you guys laid out the wood and even having the blade there. I think it actually works very well because your eyes just kind of follow everything. Um, yeah, that's also a little trippy.
Nice. Everyone who's watching, let us know of those images we've shown, which was your favorite. Oh, one little thing. It looks like your file's a little bit messy up here in the edge. If you are going to go and print that, make sure you crop that top right edge out. There's a bit of white space there, and maybe you had to adjust the level of it or something. So guys, which of those jumped out at you? As you think about that, Steph and I will choose our one winner each and then come back to your questions. So send through any more questions that you might have. Now, which one should I put on screen to creep Steph out again? Bugs,
Oh,
bugs,
please
bugs.
don't.
Okay, now. Okay. Thank you all for submitting as well. I really do appreciate you taking the time and being
Yeah.
generous to share your shots like this. It's useful and instructive for the whole community. If we only have 5 shots and they're all of the same standard or of the same kind of topic, it's not really instructive for people. And of course, keep in mind, Steph is a really experienced model and I'm a photographer, but it's just 2 opinions. So don't be disheartened if you're not the winner. Okay, I think I have mine, but I also have a backup in case we've chosen the same one. So what is yours, Steph?
Okay. Mark Meyer,
Thought that would be yours.
the
Yeah.
under the bridge.
So I'm actually going to cheat and just bring it out to 3. So Mark Meyer, agree, great shot, and thank you for entering. I don't think you've been entering every week lately, so it's great to see you in again. Matthew Nerberson, I think that is a really cool vantage point of the Eiffel Tower too. A good reminder that we should look for alternate vantage points. And then the very last one, Vince Brashear. I think that's a cool and creative shot and quite different to the other ones in here. Really nicely framed, so well done. So let's start by giving them all 5 stars so that I remember which is which.
It was really hard this week. You guys did submitted a lot of really nice shots.
Excellent.
Just not a fan of the bugs, guys.
Yeah, you're going to struggle to win with bugs if Steph's one of the judges, although I'll still choose it. And actually for that, I have to, as I said, the Weiss's shot does deserve a special mention for the amount of work that went into it, so nicely done on that. So let's now...
I wish I could look at it clearly, but no, I can't stomach it.
Let's jump back to this, take a look at some last questions. I think I've got the ones that Juan had sent through, so let me just take a look at the ones that Yobo has sent and then what's still in the chat. Sean is suggesting 10 kicks equals 1 donut. I think the calorie balance there is still way off. Maybe like half an hour of kicks.
1 donut?
Half an hour of kicks for 1 donut.
Oh, then I definitely deserve donuts then. All right, if we're going by that standard.
Okay.
I feel like so many kicks.
Well, there you go. I'll send 2 boxes. Let's see. Getting suggestions about what I should have for lunch. That's very kind.
Oh, what's the theme for next week?
Yeah,
travel, right?
Travel's the theme for next week.
Okay.
Well, I think that might be it. I think we've answered the questions that we've had come through. Thank you all for getting involved. This did get to be a little bit of a long one. Hope you all have a great week coming up. Reminder that the posing guide launch sale is on for pretty much another week at this stage. And thanks to those people who helped contribute to get Manny his first kitty camera. That was really sweet of you.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, so nice. So take care of yourself, Steph. Give my best to Timmy and Joey and Puppy, and we will catch you next week.
Oh, yeah. Sounds good. All right. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.